Hello, and today we'll continue with Violent Memoir. The two of us walk into the lobby, oblivious to the world around us, as Oscar jumps from topic to topic, talking about anything and everything that comes to mind. At least he stopped squishing me against him after the first 10 minutes. It's hard to imagine Oscar as anything but this happy-go-lucky guy but that image of him staring into the distance hasn't left my mind. It's like that forlorn stare has etched itself onto the side of my brain. Then something wraps around my tail, dragging me out of my thoughts by force. I look down only to see that Oscar has twisted his much larger and stronger tail around it, resembling a double helix of white and brown. It's like that got your attention, huh? You were still off into space. You've been standing in the lobby for 3 minutes. Thought your room might be more comfy than this. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just had a lot to think about today. That caused a shift in Oscar's demeanor, and I'm worried he might get annoyed for bringing it up before he only comes closer, wrapping an arm around my shoulder as he brings his other hand to my chin, lifting my head until our eyes meet. Yeah, he went through a pretty crappy day. I can stay here with you longer if you want. I really don't mind. He flashes me one of his signature grins, true and honest, unlike the one before. I never had fun like this. Someone so willing to help and be close to me. It's tempting to give into his offer, but it's fine. I'm just tired. I bet you get bored waiting as I slowly pass out. It's really not a hassle. No one's waiting for me to get home or anything. I just live in a flat. If anything, my roommate would be glad that he can bring home a chick tonight. Huh. Now, the next time I swear, or maybe we can go back to your place. He raises his eyebrows at that, into a suddenly peaked. I should have known he was going to take it in that direction, not that I particularly mind. Damn, Wallace. Didn't know you were coming around that fast. I don't normally take people to the flat, but I'll make an exception just for you. He gives a wink, and now I'm worried that I made a mistake. I hope I didn't lead him on, but am I actually leading him on? He is very attractive, fun to be around. We do have a lot of chemistry. I'm getting way ahead of myself. We're not even looking for the same things. I pull away from Oscar and walk up to the elevator, unable to ignore the lingering sensation of his fingers against my jaw. Thinking a bit too much about it, huh? My ears flush as I try to ignore Oscar's knowing grin and the way his tail is tightening around my own. He's way too good at reading people. Then, as if to signal the end of our time today, he unravels our tails. If you do need me to come, just let me know, okay? I'll walk over right away. He's still wearing that handsome smile, but it's much more serious. He really means that, and he really does care for me. I'm sure of it. I can't imagine this is all some ploy just to get into my pants. I promise. You really don't have to. You really don't have to, though. I can probably go down to Lucas if I need to. Apparently, he stays up pretty late. Well, at least invite me as well. We'll make it a party. The elevator arrives with an obnoxious digging sound. I consider letting it go and just talking to Oscar for a little bit longer, but he nudges me towards it. Going up there. You're like me on Saturday morning. We'll meet up before next class. I know it. If Lily doesn't organize something, we'll hook up and do something fun. Sound good? Okay, that sounds pretty great. Maybe we can actually go swimming this time. At the proposition of another attempt at swimming, Oscar bounces on his feet like a child on his birthday. If the lobby wasn't so massive, I'm certain he'd end up smacking his head against the lights. Hell yeah, I'll make sure it's a hell of a time, and we'll get more than just seeing me shirtless next time. Trust me. Now get some rest. I'll catch you later. I'll see you later too. I'll text you too. As I enter the elevator, his smile is the last thing I see before the doors close, and I'm left heading up to my own room in silence but not feeling alone, unable to stop myself from smiling like a dopey kid. Entering my room, after taking a shower, I feel the fatigue from the entire day rush through me. All the excitement made me forget just how exhausted I really am. Should I make some food? Honestly, I'd rather just get some rest and eat a bunch tomorrow. Without wasting any time, I made a beeline towards my bed, only a moment to place my bag on the desk. Falling on the bed, I'm flooded with my own scent. It's comforting and causes my drowsiness to almost overtake. But before I sleep, I should probably check my phone for any messages. Everyone's probably worried about me after what happened. Hovering above my face, I can see I have a bunch of messages from 4 different people. I can't even think of a time when I had this many people trying to contact me. The first one's from Mom, just telling me she hopes I'm having a good week, that she and Dad are always available if I need to talk, and that I'm always welcome home whenever I need it. The benefits of still being in the same town, I suppose. It brings a warm feeling to my chest and a bit of guilt for not calling them as much, but I think they understood that I need some time. As a compromise, I send them a text letting them know that I love and miss them. Hopefully that's enough for now. The next message is from Locust. Hey, are you feeling better? If you need to, you can come to my room if you're still feeling shitty. My roommate wouldn't mind. He keeps annoying me to get you to come down. The image of this mystery roommate pestering Lucas about me causes me to giggle. Looks like Lucas's roommate is a pretty good guy. They seem to get along well nonetheless. Yeah, it was pretty fun. We didn't end up swimming though. Something came up and we weren't able to. Met one of Austin's friends though. He's interesting but nice. I made sure to leave out a lot of details, but he doesn't need to know about all the stuff that's happened between Austin and I, especially anything that fuels Lee's suspicions of him. Speaking of Lee, the next message is from him. Well, the next bunch of messages are from him. Yo, you doing okay? You didn't do anything weird, right? Because I can kick his ass if I need to. I can't help but shake my head. I'm not sure if I should be disappointed in Lee for being so suspicious of Oscar, or disappointed in Oscar for proving Lee absolutely correct. Making sure to keep it as chaste as possible, I sent him a very similar message to the one I sent to Lucas. On to the last message. It's from Lily. It looks like it's from only a couple minutes ago. She must have finally finished everything and gotten home. Hey, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to get together with everyone and get lunch tomorrow. I want to make sure you're doing good, and I bet everyone is worried about you. Let me know and I'll sort it out, okay? It's not surprising that Lily is setting something up. She always has something in mind for what we can all do together. It's just surprising how organized she is. It is really nice to have people always wanting to hang out, though. I've never really hung out with friends since middle school. That sounds great. I'm going to get some rest. Just text me the time and place and I'll be there tomorrow. I do have some classes tomorrow at 8 and 10, so anything after 12 should be good. There's a part of me that wants to call her and talk. I feel like she'd know exactly what to say and put everything at ease. It's just a vibe she has. But I'm much too tired. After everything today, on top of already not having much sleep, I just want to crash for the night. We're already going to chat tomorrow anyway. I toss my phone over my nightstand and set my head into the pillow. My body must be even more exhausted than I thought, as sleep overtakes me almost immediately. A cool breeze flows through my fur, sending a shiver down my spine. Autumn and every winter is rarely cold during this time of day. It's usually only during night or when it rains that the temperature drops. It must be the beach air. Walking down Jackson Street, which trails alongside the beach, the ocean air nips through my loose shirt and leaves a salty scent of the air flowing around me. How long has it been since I visited the beach? 5 years? I never thought I'd ever come this close to it ever again. Looking through the gaps between stores, I can see the ocean behind them, sparkling as if covered in glitter. The lack of gusting winds leaves the water still, making it look like something out of a painting. That twinkling blue reminds me of Oscar's eyes, which in turn reminded me of that giant smile he always had spread across his face. It's enough to bring one of my own. He isn't even around and he still knows how to cheer me up. After another block, I spot the building I've been searching for. It's a moderately long single-floor building, modeled after a sack. The sign above it looks intensely run down, spelling out the name Snapping Jaws. This restaurant and bar, only a short walk away from the beach, is not shocking to see most of the tables occupied by people, leaving only the ones outside vacant. It's surprisingly nerve-wracking to walk into a restaurant alone. Almost shameful that I arrived without any company. I know it's a silly thought, but it still causes a prickling sensation on the back of my neck, causing the entire thing to itch. After taking a couple of seconds to strengthen my fortitude, I finally push forward through the open door and I'm greeted by the instantly recognizable smell of fish. I can't imagine what this must be like for someone with a sensitive nose like Lucas. When Lily asked us to meet somewhere near the ocean for lunch and also suggested this place, I should have maybe taken the hint that it would probably be primarily seafood. It doesn't take me long to find a table where our group is sitting. The author sits tall like a beacon despite the table being on the opposite side of the room, next to two open doors leading to a dark light balcony. Walking close, I'm able to see only two people are sitting down so far, Lily and Oscar. The sad giggles between them are light and fun. For a moment, I think they don't notice me heading towards them, but a glance out of the corner of Oscar's eyes and the flick of Lily's golden ears tell me otherwise. The two of them are on opposite sides of the booth. Between them is a long wooden table resembling a surfboard. I'm about to ask where I should sit, but Oscar beats me to the punch. Let me get up and you can sit here. Then we'll figure out where I'll sit. That okay, man? Yeah, I mean, that seems fine to me. I think we should wait until everyone gets here. Then we can figure out where everyone will go. That way we can fit everyone pretty well, but we'll sort it out when everyone arrives. Okay? It's overwhelming. I hadn't even said a word before I got bombarded by the two of them, and it didn't even seem planned. The two of them are just moving at a pace I can't keep up with, feeding off of each other's energy. Also slips out of the booth and stands up straight, his muscles flexing as he stretches. I try not to stare, but it's hard when he's standing right next to me. In a vain attempt to keep some dignity, I focus on Lily, who looks like she's holding back a giggle as she watches me. She's still wearing that yellow cardigan and soft color complements her light beige fur. My nose might not be as strong as other species, but the floral perfume she's wearing is pleasantly gentle. Her eyes are a little dark, as if she had been up all night or crying, but that doesn't stop positive energy beaming from her. Also finally finishes stretching, allowing me to look back towards him. He's staring right at me with a disappointed pout. Even if it's fake, it still makes me feel a little sad, but that quickly disappears as his grin returns. He gestures towards his side of the booth with both arms. He looks goofy with how casually he's dressed, in the same tank top and shorts from before. Oh, such a gentleman. Lily giggles before giving an overly dramatic swoon, causing my eyes to roll but a smile to grow. Despite my best efforts, it's hard to not feel happy around these two. They really know how to boost the atmosphere around them. Sliding into the booth, I sat across from Lily. It is strange to sit with someone around my height, considering just how much taller than me Lee and Oscar are. Marcus was always a lot taller than me, too. I bet even now I wouldn't be close. I'm doomed to never grow, stuck at the same height I was in middle school. Did you get better sleep this time, dude? No nightmares? Not tonight. I passed out as soon as I got home. I feel a lot better today. My stomach grumbles, and I can feel my ears fluster as Lily looks away, holding back her laughter. The one saving grace for my pride is that Oscar looks oblivious. His ears aren't as sensitive as the canines. Oscar looks to be doing a lot better today, too, almost as if yesterday didn't happen at all. His good mood seems genuine, but I wonder if he's putting on an act to make me feel better. I'm just a bit hungry. I didn't eat last night, and I only had some toast before going to my literature class. You came to the right place then. I found it in my freshman year, and I've been coming back here ever since. The fish here is the best. Trust me, I've gone through most of the menu, but a snapper walks. I've never really eaten such much seafood. The smell always scares me off, even if they look delicious. Surimi at grocery stores especially tempting, but I never got the courage to try any of it. I wouldn't even know how to cook it. Maybe I could ask Austin to cook it for me sometime if I ever go to this flat. He probably cooks for himself, right? Austin, do you think I can talk to Wallace alone for a bit? I just want us to have a bit of privacy. Austin doesn't appear at all surprised with Lily's suggestion, and it makes me wonder if they chatted about this before I arrived. I wouldn't put it past her to plan this. He glances towards me and his smile widens. His eyes simmer as he stares down into my own before giving me a wink. Now that I know he's actually flirting with me, it's actually pretty flattering, and I can feel my ears burning, forcing me to quickly look away towards Lily. She's giggling into her hand, and I suddenly have an immense urge to know what they talked about. I'll chill at one of the seats at the bar, where I'll definitely be out of reach and totally unable to hear you. Lily gives him a glare that reminds me of the time when my mother caught me skipping school that one time. I never even thought of doing it again after that, just a memory of that sends a shiver down my spine. Okay, I'll go to the far end of the bar. Don't stress, man. Wait, I'll send you a text when we're done. This feels a little bit intimidating. That causes Lily to laugh and Oscar's expression to turn into a mysterious grin before walking off, neither of which does anything to help make me feel less worried about what's about to happen. Don't worry, I just want to make sure you're alright and hear about what I missed yesterday. I'm doing a lot better now. Also really cheered me up even if things didn't exactly go to plan. We actually didn't even get to swim, but I still had a good time. I feel almost like I'm talking to my mother, trying to avoid saying the wrong thing and getting scolded. It seems silly, but the way Lily is leaning her chin in the palm of her left hand gives me waves of nostalgia. I can almost smell the lavender in our backyard if the scent of fish wasn't so overwhelming. She only gives me a gentle smile and doesn't probe me any further, but I can tell she wants to ask more about what we did. It's a massive strain to hold back a blush from sewing in my ears. I barely stopped myself from jumping when she rests her free hand on my own. I didn't see her moving her other arm. I'm getting too lost in my thoughts. I'm glad you're doing a lot better. You look like you were having a panic attack or something. It was pretty terrifying to see you suddenly freak out like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, stop that. You didn't do anything wrong. But can you tell me what happened? I just had pretty messed up dreams, that's all. What was it all about? You don't have to be scared. I won't judge you. I opened my mouth, but after a moment's hesitation, I closed it again. I can easily find an excuse if I want to, but that's a disservice to Lily. She's reaching out and offering to help. It's not fair to her. I'm sorry you had to go through that. That must have been scary. Yeah, I'm pretty glad. I'm just glad it was a dream. That diary must have really messed me up that night. Something about reading about the average day of someone who killed 3 people just made me feel sick. I shouldn't have pushed you to read that book. I didn't think it would have this much of an effect on you. If you want, we can switch topics of our project. I know everyone else wouldn't mind. No, it's fine. I'll just make sure to not stay up all night reading again. I think the lack of sleep didn't help. She squeezes my hand in gentle reassurance, as soft and full of warmth, like being covered in a fluffy blanket. Looking towards her face, I can't help but wonder if I had been straight, if she would have been my type. Would straight Wallace have gotten across to Lily? I can't even imagine what straight me would have liked. Her ears twitch as she glances towards the door. Following her gaze, I can see that Lucas has just arrived. Oscar has gotten up from the bar to talk with him, but I don't think the conversation's exactly going to plan. Or maybe it is because it does look like they're talking, or they're actually talking, even if everything Lucas says is followed by an eye roll. By a roll of his eyes and what I can only assume is a snide remark. Maybe that's the idea, just annoy the fox to the point where he gets used to it. He's already here, if you're wondering. Lily whispers that across the table, despite there being no chance that anyone will hear us. If she's right, I can't see Lee anywhere, not even outside with the other 2. Really? Where is he? Out back, apparently. He was already here before we arrived, but texted us he wanted some alone time. I also told him that he was going to come out to see him, but he was pretty firm in telling him no. And everyone's here then. Looks like. Oscar's constant gesturing looks silly, but I can't help smiling at just how happy he looks. It's a stark contrast to how he looked outside the pool yesterday, but the happiness and excitement looks genuine. He looks towards me and gives me a quick wink as if he could feel my eyes on the back of his head. This prompts a snort from Lily, but I refuse to acknowledge her, snickering a warm feeling in my chest. Lucas eye roll at that, and I can tell he wants to insult Oscar, but doesn't make any movements to do so. He must have figured it probably isn't worth the effort, or maybe he's finally realized that insulting Oscar only fuels him more. Eventually, Oscar heads back inside and collapses at the bar, looking rather pleased with himself, but Lucas stays behind, staring up at something we can't see. My eyes float back to Oscar as he leans back on his chair, balancing on his tail as he waits. He looks bored. No way. I think he's just really, really excited about us hanging together again. He meets my stare, holding my gaze as he leans back further. I'm almost certain this is going to be some ploy to show off or flirt with me in some way. He did admit that his flirting is real yesterday. Or maybe he isn't planning to. He just flashes me a grin that shows off all of his immaculate white teeth before grabbing his phone out of his pocket and sending me a text. I think I'm growing on him. Out of everything today, nothing's brought me a bigger smile than that. The thought that I was so pleased to be even a step closer to being Lucas's friend is so overwhelming. It's so overwhelmingly wholesome and pure for someone who can be anything but that at times. How the hell is someone like him interested in someone like me? There's no way I deserve even a sliver of his attention. What do you think he's looking at? Huh? Oh, right, Lucas. He's still standing out there, looking up at whatever he's staring at. It must have really gotten his attention because he's not even moving to get out of the way of walking pedestrians. Maybe there's something in the sky or on the roof. It's hard to tell. He might He's just stalling. He doesn't seem the most fond of crowds. That makes sense, neither am I. She giggles at that, a warm and soothing sound that perfectly encapsulates this relaxing atmosphere. We've only known each other for a couple of days, but it feels like we've been friends for years. If things start to get bad again, and you don't want to make a bad impression on the boys, you can always crash at my place. My bed's big enough for both of us. We're pretty small, plus Dad's a great cook. The kind offer is overshadowed by the ominous mention of her father. I don't really know anything about him, but someone as confident as Lily must have an absolutely terrifying father. I don't think your dad will approve of you sleeping in the same room as a boy. I get the feeling he won't worry. Hey, I'll let you know that my dad's great and you'd be lucky to have him. Can we please stop talking about me having sex with your dad? Fine. But I meant what I said. I know it can be a bit hard to ask the boys for somewhere to stay, and us lovers of those who are bad for us gotta stick together. Why would I not be able to ask them? Her smile curls up. The mischievous edge to it gives me an uneasy feeling. It takes a lot of willpower to not break eye contact and focus on something else. Well, there are all cats, and I bet you want to make a good impression. That definitely isn't what I had expected. What? She's leaning back against the chair, looking to the side with a curious smile, covering her face. Despite its inquisitive nature, it's still gentle. There's a noticeable hesitance to her, a feeling that she's letting me choose how far I want this conversation to go. I'm distinctly reminded of my mother sitting outside on a summer afternoon, talking to my aunt as I played with Marcus. Not wanting to feel melancholic, I pushed the memory away, forcing myself not to dwell and bringing myself back to Lily's sideward glance. Following her gaze, I could see Lucas is still standing there, staring up at something. He's dressed up too formal for the situation, which isn't too abnormal for him, but it looks a lot messier than usual, like he did it in a rush. I'm asking if any of the boys have caught your eye. That brings my attention crashing back towards Lily, like she's a freight train, and I'm just a small little fruit cart stuck on the tracks. She's still watching Lucas, but I somehow feel like she's looking at me from every direction at once. I know she's not being malicious, and she's just over eagerly approaching girl talk, but I can't help but feel overwhelmed. This isn't something I've ever talked to someone about. Caught my eye. Wallace, it's okay to have a crush on them, right? Leah's basically a bad boy punk fantasy come true. Also looks like a porn star, and Lucas has this hidden endearing side of him. Turning back to me, I can see her gaze is soft, as if they're trying to calm me down through some hidden psychic powers. Regardless, it was that I could feel my heart rate slow down, my blood no longer rushing to my ears. Relax, it's just girl talk. No need to stress. Right, yeah, just chatting. So? I'm not sure yet. I don't think it's developed enough to be anything. I only just met them. Her slow nod is both understanding but also unsatisfied. I could probably toss her more of a bone, but I don't want to set myself up for something. I don't even know how to explain this to myself, let alone her. What about you? Are you into any of them? Any of my extremely gay classmates? Right, that's a stupid question, and I'm an idiot. I try to ignore the itching sensation crawling on my neck and maintain eye contact, desperate to not die from embarrassment. Or, at all. You must be a cat, right? I like to think I'm a cat, but no one right now. I like all of them as friends, but I don't think I want to date any of them. I want something more normal. More normal? I don't think they're weird. She quirks an eyebrow upwards before glancing over at the boys again. It's only for a moment before she brings her attention back to me. Flicking my gaze over to the boys, I can see Oscar's now standing up and flexes his arm in front of Lucas, who is trying desperately to look at anything but towards the bulging bicep in front of him. It's a good thing Lee isn't here because I can't imagine him scolding Oscar for acting like this. I don't think he'd let this happen, not for long at least. You're a perfect match for them. What? That's all I had to talk about. Now we just gotta wait for everyone to get ready. Might end up having to get you to go get Lucas if Lee's back before him. Why me? He seems more comfortable around you than the rest of us. I try my best, but I think he prefers you. I don't really get it. I haven't done anything special. I don't think I have at least. She shrugs at that, brushing it off with such nonchalance that it makes it seem more like a matter of fact instead of just her personal theory. I'm not quite sure either, but it's a good thing. He's more comfortable around you, and that's definitely helping him mess with our group more. I don't think he'd stay around if it was just Oscar, Lee, or myself. That I can't agree with. He doesn't seem to like the others nearly as much, but I don't think he dislikes them either. He just needs some time to get used to each other. Looking back over towards Oscar, it's clear that he's trying to look inconspicuous and failing completely. Anyone can tell he's trying to peek over to our table. Then our eyes meet and there's a beat where we just stare at each other. The moment that goes for eternity is broken by Lily's giggling and Oscar flashes me a massive smile like he's just an innocent bystander. So despite my best attempts to hold back a smile of my own, it still twitches the corner of my mouth up. It's hard to resist the energy, especially with Oscar's almost blinding brightness and Lily's constant giggling. I signal for him to come over and he all but darts off his stool like he's trying to win a race against all the other patrons for the last seat in the bar. He looks like such a dork, but plays it off with an abundance of confidence. Prince Charming, huh? Lily's teasing voice in my ears almost enough to cause them to turn into a fierce fiery inferno. I'm so jealous of all these people with dark fur colors. The redness peeks through my almost translucent white too easily. She'll probably get you on that side. Gotta fit everyone in. Don't want to leave anyone out to dry, right? He offers his hand at the moment I take it. I'm hoisted out of my seat with such effortless force that it's almost scary. He could probably lift both Lily and me with only one arm and not break a sweat. Oscar slides into the seat, letting me fumble to get in next to Lily. He looks excited to be back with the group. Well, some of the group. His whole body looks to be swaying to the light pop music playing over the radio. I wouldn't have even noticed the music if I didn't see him bouncing to the beat, even his tail is tapping against the ground next to the seat. Did you guys have a good chat? I think it went pretty well. Had a little girl talk, minus the girl part. They both look at me, waiting to see if everything's alright with me. Even though Oscar's staying ever the optimist, there's a glint of concern in his eyes that matches the warmth radiating from Lily. Yeah, it was nice. I'm glad we had it. For some reason, Oscar preens himself like he did something amazing, and I know he's just being overdramatic to try and keep the tone light. I'm not going to lie to myself and say it isn't working. Good. I'm not the only one for heavy stuff. Good. I'm not the one for heavy stuff. Better to have Lily for that. Speaking of me, I'm going to the ladies' room. Try not to get into trouble, boys. No promises. I'm prepared to slide out of the booth for her, but before I can even try, she climbs up onto the seat and crawls over me. I'm frozen in shock as he manages to get out and skips towards the toilet without acknowledging it at all. Oscar, on the other hand, is cackling like he's some villain in a cartoon. There's no maliciousness from him, but I have to resist the urge to pout like a child. He comes shortly after, and he looks me over, eyes lingering on my own. Normally this would ignite a signal for the blood to rush to my face, but it doesn't feel like he's checking me out, more that he's satisfied with what he sees. Man, you look much better today. I feel a lot better, just needed sleep. He looks around to the west of the restaurant, taking in the warm ambience and the delicious scent of grilled fish that's coming from the kitchen. The kitchen's hidden behind the bar. The only view into it is a long window stretching across the entire back wall, allowing everyone in the restaurant to just barely see some of the cells. What do you think of the place? Pretty great, right? I didn't even know it existed, and I used to come to the beach a lot. Yeah, I came down here in the summer in my first year, and I wanted to check out any seafood places around the beach. Turns out this place is a local favorite, and I've come here ever since. I bet the boys love it when you take them here. Never taken any guy here before. That catches me off guard, and I can't stop a dubious expression from covering my face. His only reply is a sleepless grin. It's so cheesy that I have to resist the urge to roll my eyes like Lucas. You're telling me that you've never taken a guy that you picked up from the beach here? Not much of a dating kind of guy. So you just take them home right away? Well, we typically drink and dance at the club for a while. And nothing else? You just take them home for sex afterward? Pretty much, yeah. There's a twinge of something I don't understand in my chest, and I look for something to change the subject. I bring up the first thing that comes to mind, even though I know it's probably not the best idea. What happened with your coach yesterday? Is that normal? I sigh the first thing that comes out his mouth, and it saps most of his energy with it. He doesn't look disappointed or annoyed, more like silently accepting his fate. Yeah, he's just a mother hen. I'm doing great. I still have the best times on the team. No one else comes close. It's the reason I got a scholarship instead of posting some international import. I think he's more worried about you overworking yourself than the times. There's a flash of annoyance in his eyes, but it flickers and dies, morphing into something more melancholic. That smile never leaves his face, and there's no animosity towards me. Don't worry about me, little man. I like swimming, and I want to do it as much as I can. He just worries too much. Nothing wrong with a little more eye candy after all. He waggles his eyebrows and sits up straighter. His loose tank top does little in the way of hiding anything, especially with how he's purposefully trying to emphasize the muscles on his chest. But I think he's just distracting me again. He doesn't want to talk about any of the heavy stuff, so he's just changed the topic. I suppose I should let him. I hope this isn't going to blow up in my face later. Right, just promise me you won't overwork yourself, okay? I won't, man. You're sounding like Lee. He'd be so proud. With that topic done and dusted for now, the mood lightens and there's a sense of relief filling my chest. I didn't realize that parting Oscar about that would be so stressful. Too many bad memories, I suppose. You're from Everwinter, right? You managed to find your way here pretty easily. Mr. Grumpy was spamming Lily's phone before you showed up. Yeah, born here. I used to come to the beach a lot when I was a kid. My brother used to take me all the time, especially since Everwinter never really gets too cold. Oscar's little ears twitch at the mention of my brother, and there's something morbidly curious about the way he's inquisitively furrowing his brow. Older brother? Yeah. He's got good taste. I think Ever North Beach is like one of the best beaches I've ever been to, and trust me, I've been to a lot. The place is huge, and you can go so far out before the current begins to drag you. I'm only able to nod at that, unable to really keep focusing on the conversation, he says something else before laughing, something about an ever South Beach that doesn't exist. But all I can focus on is the window looking out over the store and in perfect view of a specific walk. It's sitting near the top of the stand, where it meets the dirt and meshes together. I sat there so many times, but I can't remember any of those except for that night. The beach had been empty that night, and the breeze was so cool, despite just coming out of summer. The waves were crashing against the shore, and it was so loud. And I. Wallace, you right? Jogging me out of my memories is an author whose face is barely an inch away from my own, sparking that familiar feeling when he pinned me against the wall yesterday, and there's that spicy mustard scent barely tingling my nose. Huh? I nearly jump when I feel a hand on my jaw, pushing it up. It's Lily's, and she's wearing a smile that's more suited for a devil than a college student as she stands next to my booth. Wow, don't draw on the table, people will stare. Sorry, I was daydreaming. I wasn't referring to that. Realizing that my gawking isn't very subtle, my cheeks tingle as blood rushes to them. It doesn't look like Arthur's oblivious to it either, as he's looking down at me with the biggest smug smile that I can easily imagine Lee smacking him. As we get Lily back into her place, I think over everything that has happened to us the past few days, trying to reach for something to change the subject to. Anything to get the focus off my burning face. Just how good are you at swimming, Oscar? You're always talking about it, and the way you talk to your coach, you sound pretty legit. The way he's staring at me with those sparkling eyes filled with an excessive amount of smugness lets me know that he's very aware of this not so subtle attempt at a conversation change. Thankfully, it looks like he's going to go along with it. Pretty good, I'd say. I'm the best on the team currently. Should be considering I got a scholarship. Is getting a swimming scholarship that hard? I got a couple of small ones, but they're like really small. Lily sounds just as intuitive as I am. I didn't even qualify for any scholarships. Hell, I was lucky enough to be accepted into Everwinter with my grades. This isn't a super elite school, but it's still a considerably great land. Yeah, it's real hard. There's a very limited amount of scholarships they're allowed to give us. We're lucky we're a Division I school, or else those slots would have been even more limited. Division I school. Don't worry about any of the details, man. Just know that it's rare for them to not use a scholarship trying to poach and import from another country. You gotta be great, already comparatively successful, and still have great grades. That causes Lily to giggle and poke the other's arm. He gives a far wounded expression and looks at me pleadingly. It's surprisingly effective despite its obvious facelessness, but he breaks into a chuckle of his own before I'm able to respond. Hey guys, come on, I'm smart. The brain's a muscle too. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's working on my muscles. Maybe a little too much if closer to go by. Is the brain an organ? It definitely is. Well, I'm pretty good with those too. He leans forward and whispers that with a husky voice, laying it on super thick. My audible gulp is the final straw, stopping Lily from bursting out in laughter, and also joins her much to my humiliation. Despite how much fun they're having, he reaches out and rolls the inside of my arm in a comforting way. It's a bit out of place considering the tone, but looking up at his eyes, they look like they're trying to reassure me. Did he think he upset me with that? For someone who's always trying to be so playful and flirty, he's surprisingly sweet when he wants to be, and with both of their infectious laughter still roaring strong, I lose myself in the mood for as long as I can. After a couple more minutes of laughing and sharing stories about our time in Everwinter, also having the most interesting despite being here for a couple of years, Lucas finally walks over to our table and sits next to me with little fanfare. He looks awestruck, like a child being taken to a theme park for the first time, looking around to the bar and other patrons with his mouth agape. Everything okay? A nod is the only response he gives as his gaze jumps from table to table, completely oblivious to the rest of us stare at him. I don't think he gets out much, so he's just enjoying the view. Ain't that right, Grumpy? And also silly nickname, Lucas finally tears his eyes back to our table, pouting like we just interrupted one of the best naps of his life. I'm able to get a closer look. He's a little jittery, probably from excitement, if I had to guess. Yeah, my parents don't take me out often. Well, we'll have to take you out more, right? Also nudges my arm with his elbow and gives me a little wink, a small indication to play along. Unsure what to do, I just simply nod as he speaks, hoping that's enough for what Oscar's doing. I think he's trying to make Lucas feel more included and welcome in our group. Now that I think about it, he's always been trying to include the Fox in everything we do. It's just like he said that day we met. Anyone can be friends if you try hard enough. He really believes that. I'm still not entirely sure, but I can't say it isn't a wonderful thing to want. Speaking of people he will need to win over, a familiar Parsons' head is visible over Oscar's shoulder as he pushes through the door. It's hard to see with most of his body being blocked by the back of the booth, but it's clear from the pink color that he isn't wearing his usual outfit. He rounds the corner and all hell breaks loose. Lee's standing there, except he's wearing something completely different now. Instead of his usual leather jacket and red shirt, he's wearing something much more eye-catching and something I've never in a million years expected to see him in. He's wearing a pink hoodie, but instead of reaching all the way down to his torso, it stops just under his chest, allowing his stomach to be easily visible as well as the features underneath. I'm not able to make out the details of them this far away, and I'm a little too stunned to really comprehend what I'm looking at. It's just a stark contrast from how I imagine Lee in my head. He catches my eye, and when he sees how bewildered I am, he just lets out a sigh before giving us the barest of explanations. My sister made me wear this. That single accent like the fuse and it sets off the rest of the group. Also, Albert jumps out of his seat, looking between the rest of us and Lee as if screaming, "Look at this. You never told me you can dress sexy. This looks like something I see at a club or something. Hell, I could even see myself wearing that, and that's something." Then all hell Then he rounds the corner and all hell breaks loose. Lee's standing there, except he's wearing something completely different now. Instead of his usual leather jacket and red shirt, he's wearing something much more eye-catching and something I've never in a million years expected to see him in. He's wearing a pink hoodie, but instead of reaching all the way down to his torso, it stops just under his chest, allowing his stomach to be easily visible as well as the features underneath. I'm not able to make out the details of them this far away, and I'm a little too stunned to really comprehend what I'm looking at. It's just a stark difference from how I imagine Lee in my head. He catches my eye, and when he sees how bewildered I am, he just lets out a sigh before giving us the barest explanations. My sister made me wear this. That single action lights the fuse and it sets off the rest of our group. Oscar Albert jumps out of his seat, looking between the rest of us and Lee as if screaming, "Look at this. You never told me you can dress sexy. This looks like something I see at a club or something. Hell, I can even see myself wearing that, and that's saying something, man. It's just something I used to wear in high school." You have a sexy face, man. Can you stay in this more? I'm sure it won't just be me who appreciates it. I think all the boys will appreciate it. He waggles his eyes towards me and even nudges Lucas's shoulder. Amusingly, the fox looks more surprised by that than what Lee's wearing. You keep this up, this will be the last time you'll see me in this. Don't be like that. We're just saying you look hot, right, guys? You do look really good. I'm enjoying the eye candy, but I feel like I'm not the target. Come on, don't be like that. We're just saying you look hot, right, guys? You do look really good. I'm enjoying the eye candy, but I feel like I'm not the target demographic here. Lee lets out a huff, but I don't think he's annoyed. I just don't think he was expecting this kind of attention. Instead of acknowledging them, he looks over at me. He's trying to gauge my reaction but all I'm able to give him is a nod as I try to maintain eye contact. I know if I think too hard about what he's wearing, I'm going to light myself up like a candle, and that's in the best case scenario. Despite looking completely different from what he usually wears, it fits him in a way. It still feels like something he'd wear. There's something rebellious about someone as gruff as him wearing something like that. Despite looking completely different from what he usually wears, it fits him in a way. It still feels like something he'd wear. Despite looking completely different from what he usually wears, it fits him in a way. It still feels like something he'd wear. There's something rebellious about someone as gruff as him wearing something like this. I get the feeling he's gotten a lot of attention because of this before, and that's probably part of the reason. It feels like Lee is trying to say something with it. Most likely, I don't give a shit what you think. My answer, or lack thereof, must be amusing to him because he lets out a snort and raises an eyebrow towards me. I don't know what the big deal is. It's just a hoodie. My roommate wears stuff like this all the time. And just like that, the attention switches from Lee to the fox, mostly also as he leans in closer, much to Lucas's dismay. You have to introduce me to him sometime. I think we get along great. Yeah, I bet the two of you would. You're both very loud and have no sense of boundaries. So, is that a yes? Lucas sighs and stares up at the other, looking defeated and just nods, not even bothering to resist Arthur's prying. Content with that answer, Arthur goes back to his seat and returns to admiring Lee. To his credit, Lee doesn't even bother reacting to his spying at all. I'm not sure if it's because he just expected this or if he's used to it, but either way, it doesn't look like the attention bothers him too much. Now, as exciting as Lee's new outfit is, we should probably settle down before we annoy the staff. At the sound of that, Arthur tears his eyes away from the possum and looks towards our side of the table, putting on an innocent face that looks too cheesy to be remotely believable. I come here a lot, so let's not get me into trouble with the owners. I like this place, alright? You're the one making a scene. We just want a quiet lunch, but I don't think you know what quiet means. A devilish grin spreads across the Arthur's face with such ominousness that it makes my skin crawl. His eyes dart between Lucas and me before he leans back against the cushioned seat. He looks like an evil mastermind with the way his eyes are twinkling with mischief. I saw both of you checking him out. Wallace was a second away from drooling on his lap, and you're not as subtle as you think you are, Grumpy. I caught your eyes darting back to him whenever you thought no one was looking. I expect Lucas to give some kind of retort or insult, but he just looks away, acting as if Arthur didn't have anything at all. As if Arthur didn't say anything at all. I can't see any of his features, but I can almost feel the heat coming off him. Enough, both of you. Am I sitting next to Arthur? Oh, right. Sorry. That was a little too much fun to watch. I got distracted here. Let me sort it out. After what feels like an hour of shuffling about, which in actuality is only a few minutes, but Oscar's desire to peek at every angle of Lee makes it feel like an eternity. We manage to see ourselves inside the booth. On one side sits Oscar and Lee, the two largest guys in the group, though Oscar dwarfs even Lee in sheer size. Despite not getting along, Lee approves of the idea. He's probably happy that Oscar isn't sitting with Lucas or myself. There's no complaints from the other at all. There's too much for him to enjoy regardless of where he sits. Lucas looks relieved to not have to sit next to him, and there's a part of me that feels bad for Oscar. He is constantly being put on trial, and I'm almost certain that he doesn't mean any harm. On our side, the table hasn't changed since we first got into our seats. Lily is still next to the wall, and Lucas is sitting at the open end of the booth. Without any shuffling on our part to worry about, it became easier to focus on other things such as Lucas not so subtly watching Lee sliding into the booth. Looks like Oscar was right about that after all. He caught me watching him and immediately sat up straighter, trying to adjust his already neat and tidy outfit. Thankfully, he doesn't reach up and whip at his head again. By the time we all got settled in, Lucas's ears were burning pink and Oscar's smirk had grown into a fully fledged grin. There's an awkward silence between the group, but before I can consider breaking it, Lily clears her throat. Our attention turns to her as she flashes a soft smile on her face. There isn't a single sigh of discomfort or nervousness in her expression. Thanks for coming. Sorry for asking this on such short notice. I thought it'll be good to get together again to check on Wallace and work on our project some more. Not even a second after she finishes speaking, all eyes shift towards me, concerned curiosity mixing together in everyone's eyes. Unlike Lily, I don't have the composure to handle nearly half a dozen people stare at me, so I stare towards the table, hoping that it will magically make this conversation be over. Everyone's waiting for an answer, though, and it's unfair to keep them worried. I'm doing fine. It really was just a bad dream that left me a little bit shook up. I'm feeling a lot better after a good night's sleep. Knowing that there might still be doubt, I look up towards the group and give them as authentic a smile as I can. The edge is trembling slightly, not from any problems, mind you. Just the attention is causing a sort of anxiety in my chest. After a moment, most of the occupants relax. Only Lee continues to stare towards me, his green eyes still bursting with worry, but he doesn't press any further. At times like this, it's a blessing that he's so much more quiet than the rest of our group. Trust me, after yesterday, I'll be surprised if Wallace could even remember what happened instead of what we did. That causes me to balk and frantically look towards the altar. The only thing awaiting me is his knowing expression, and I don't even need the burning sensation in my ears to know that they must be beet red. Jesus, Oscar. Lee's stoic expression breaks into a look I can only describe as offended. His brows are crest, and his mouth is barely hanging open, completely shocked that he said that. The only response he gets is Oscar looking over at him with an innocent look. What? I only wanted to give Oscar a good time. That's not the point. That's kind of the point. It's the reason one of us took care of Wallace after all. Lucas's judgmental tone is jarring compared to Oscar's sultry one. What the Fox did say, however, is much more confusing. Even Oscar looked surprised before an even wider grin crossed his face. Are you saying you wanted to make sure Wallace had a great time? Make sure he was satisfied? Lily's chuckle is quiet, and I can barely hear it as she muffles it with her hand. Lily, on the other hand, looks ready to interrupt and put a stop to where this is going before he's cut off by Lucas. Obviously, we all wanted to. We would have done it all together if we could. That breaks Lily, and her giggle transforms into a full-blown laugh. Arthur quickly joins her as Lee's entire body sags, unclear if he's disappointed or just exhausted. As for myself, I can feel myself looking towards the walls as my ears burn. It's at times like this that really makes me curse having white fur. Any flushing is easily seen through the almost transparent cheek fluff. The confused expression on Lucas's face shows that he's being completely left in the dark. Opening my mouth to explain it, a glare from Lee makes me stop in my tracks. Looks like he doesn't want to give Oscar the satisfaction of corrupting Lucas's innocence. Instead, I just place a hand on his arm, rubbing it slowly in a reassuring way, looking towards me, confusion still evident in his expression as his ears droop and press against his head. Don't worry about it. He's just teasing you. Oh, I mean nothing bad by it, man. Just didn't think you responded like that. Austin's response is barely recognizable. When each word comes out between a laugh, regardless of his sincerity, it's hard to take seriously with that grin on his face, tears in his eyes. Just ignore him, Lily. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about? Despite the annoyed tone of his words, Lee's pressing his lips together as if holding back a smile of his own. Looks like Oscar's antics even have an effect on Lee. Not that he would ever admit it or give him the satisfaction. He never let him live it down. Looking back towards Lucas, his expression has changed from downtrodden to bashful. His inner ears have become a deeper shade of pink. He's playing with them as he looks down towards the table. When my attention is drawn to the feminine figure approaching our table, coming right up to the edge of our booth, with her demeanor so bubbly, I wouldn't have guessed he was working as a waiter. Welcome to the Snapping Jaws. We hope you enjoy your stay. We have a board above the bar with all of the day's lunch specials. Will any of you like something to drink while you decide on your order? Also perks up at the sight of the waitress, a tall and lithe lioness with soft features. She looks to be in her mid-20s. The most striking thing about her is the numerous fish on her uniform, a colorful rainbow of fish swimming around her sea blue skirt. Can I have a beer? Oh, hey. Oscar leans away from Lee with a face closely resembling a hurt puppy. Lee doesn't look like he's buying it at all. His eyes squinting with suspicion. He doesn't look angry or annoyed, though, merely scolding like a parent would to their misbehaving child. It's lunchtime. No alcohol. Water for me. Jesus, man. Fine, a ginger beer then. Oh, can I please have a pink lemonade? I saw you guys did them earlier, and they look super cute. Actually, bring me two. They won't last very long. Lily's eager tone is a great way to diffuse the awkward tension. I can feel Lucas relax next to me. I didn't realize how tightly he's been rolled up. Actually, now that I think about it, he did sit straighter as soon as he came up to our table. It's as if he's rebuilding his walls to block out any strangers like he did when I met him in class. Wanting to relieve as much tension as I can, I press my shoulder against him. He hesitates for a moment before leaning into my touch, and it's shocking just how fast he relaxes against me. That hardened expression melts away as quick as it came, and he even manages to bring a smile to his face while his usual scowl fits him well. It's nice to see him with a smile every now and then. Thanks. It's a quiet whisper that I'm sure no one besides Lily and myself can hear. There's a heavy hum coming from next to me, and I don't even need to look towards her to know that Lily's eavesdropping on us. Don't worry, just order what you like. She won't bite. I know, Simone, I'm not a child. Despite his words, his body screams uncertainty, and he looks towards the waitress whose smile's grown tighter than it had been while she first arrived. She likely didn't expect ordering drinks to take this long. A root beer float. You do those, right? I saw some kids drinking some earlier. There's a firmness in Lucas's eyes, an unflinching glare that almost feels like a challenge, like she's daring her to say something. I know it's not like Lucas. I know it's not how Lucas really feels, but it's just how he comes across, so very hostile. She raises an eyebrow at that, but only smiles and writes it down. With each tap of pen on paper, I can feel Lucas's muscles relaxing. And I have a Coke. Cut it in as soon as he finishes writing it down. She gives me a big smile that someone took the initiative to speed this up, but I did it just so she'll leave sooner. I think her presence is stressing Lucas out. Great, we'll get these out to you right away. We'll take your order then. Thank you for coming to Snapping Jaws. And with that, she moves away from our table with a skip in her step that I can only assume comes from finally being able to escape our table. The feeling's mutual even if she was a bad person. With her gone, I lean over against Lucas, whispering in his ear quiet enough that I'm sure only Lily can pick it up. You doing okay? You look a bit out of it. You look a bit out of... You okay? You look a bit out of it here. Yeah, just get scared when I talk to someone I don't know. I have problems with people. I'm not bothering to keep his voice down. Lucas's reply is loud enough for the rest of the table to hear it with ease. Lee replies before I can. His voice is filled with a warmth that can only come from someone who takes care of a sibling. It's okay to be scared of people. I know a lot of people who have trouble talking to people. Yeah, my best friend gets real bad around people. He's mute and gets extremely shy around anyone else. Sometimes he freezes up entirely. Also cuts in with an upbeat tune, trying to brighten the mood even if the content doesn't match the tone of his voice. Lucas looks at everyone with a confused expression, like he didn't understand why everyone's talking the way they were. He opens his mouth to say something before shaking his head, and his neutral expression returns aloof and cold. Your friend's mood? And just like that, all the attention shifts towards Oscar. The author looks more than happy to take all of it. Yeah, when we first met, he couldn't speak to anyone on the swimming team. It caused some problems with Coates, but I gave him a hand and now we're chill. He can whisper into my ear now. It helps a lot. He's a great guy. You guys will love him. Lily looks ecstatic at that, leaning forward across the table with bright eyes. She looks so excited to make as many friends as she can, like she can't have enough. We're so different in that regard. This group are my only friends and we've only been together a few days. I'm startled out of my thoughts by a sudden warmth on my left hand. It's got another hand laying on top of it, a very large one covered in light brown fur. We're all friends here, all of us. Don't stress about the details, man. I'm sorry at just how this guy, this hot and funny guy could be so perceptive. How could he not only see something's on my mind, but know exactly where it is? He wraps his thumb across my wrist. Despite how gentle he's resting his hand, I can feel the strength he has, and it causes me to shiver. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Lee looking towards us with a suspicious glare, but it's less pronounced than before. Lily has a smile on her face that she's hiding behind her hand, and Lucas is only focused on our hands, eyebrows furrowed and head tilted. I wonder what's going on in their heads, what they're thinking of all this. He pulls his hand away, but he lets his claws playfully trail down the gaps between my fingers, smile widening when I jerk my hand away from his out of reflex. Even without feeling a burn, I know my ears are flushed and my face isn't too far behind it. I expect him to continue, but he's still looking at me as if he's wanting, if he's waiting for something, some response from me. But all I'm able to do is give him a nod, the only act I'm capable of in my breathless state, something to let him know I'm okay. Because it's true, I am okay, or at least I'm doing better. I have friends and they care about me. Sure they're new, and I've only known them a couple of days, but they're the closest friends I've had for a long time. So I think we should carry on looking into what happened to Helena. Lily's voice pierces through everything. But it's kind and gentle, like it doesn't want to disturb this peace between us, this sincerity, but has to. Lily's voice pierces through everything, but it's kind and gentle, like it doesn't want to disturb this peace between us, this serenity, but it has to. We all look towards her, surprised it's onto the others' faces, probably my own as well. I have to completely twist myself to look at her. She only smiles back at us in return, unaffected by the confusion emanating from us. I've been thinking about it, and I contacted our professor about the labs. He said as long as we can provide weekly reports, then we can leave our Thursday class early if something happens to one of us, if things get too hard. She's looking towards Lucas with a sympathetic glance. Her eyes softer than I've ever seen someone's eyes being. It reminds me of a new mother doting on her newborn baby. But under the table, she gives my leg a gentle squeeze. It's not suggestive by any means. It's comforting, as if the words are meant for me too. At this moment, I can't help but see Marcus in her. They're different, and he never showed this level of affection, but I know he cared about me more than he did about anyone else. Seeing him and her is bittersweet. So as I was saying, let's do some research on it today. There's something behind me, and then, without a hint of saying, Lucas places his head on my shoulder. The warmth is a sudden shock, but I can't let myself get too startled. That would scare Lucas off. Oscar's waggling his eyebrows obscenely towards us, but I'm going to just ignore him as much as I consciously can, because I can still feel the heat in my face and ears worsening whenever I feel Lucas's fur brush against the skin of my neck. We can go to the library. I know my way around there pretty much. I can't see his expression, but the excitement in his voice is so thoroughly charged up that I can't help but imagine his eyes wide and a little smile on his face, even if such a smile doesn't fit what I've seen of him. Lily only giggles in response, incredibly amused about something, and I really hope it's how cute Lucas is being and not the amount I must be blushing. That's the idea. We'll all go to the library and do some research together. Will we find anything? What do you mean? This is a murder, not a historic event. We won't find any books of it. Yeah, but there's computers littering the library for students to access it in there. That seems like the smartest place to do it in. I don't think any of us has space at our place for all of us to crowd in. I know I don't. Even without a roommate, my room is still significantly smaller than any other place I've stayed before this. I didn't even know the library had computers in it. The smile drops off Lily's face, and she looks over towards Austin with a confused expression. The rest of us follow suit. Aren't you a senior? Yeah, but it doesn't mean I use the library much. I've only gone there a few times. That doesn't surprise me. You don't exactly strike me as the kind of guy that's read a book that's not porn. See, this guy gets it. There's a bristling of fur against my neck, and Lucas tenses up. Something about that saying must have made him uncomfortable because he steals away from me. Also, I've been curious, but what is your major? Accounting. I'm doing a bachelor's of commerce. I got offered a full-ride scholarship if I went into law, but then I wouldn't have time to swim, and I'm not down for that. That stuns the whole table back into silence. With the attention now on Oscar, I'm able to face forward and see everyone wants more. Lee looks the most surprised, his stoic mask nowhere to be seen, as his eyes are wider than I thought possible. Everyone looks absolutely dumbfounded. How did someone as dumb as you get offered a scholarship, but going to law no less? Why? I just want to swim. No need to complicate it with such a demanding major. Accounting isn't exactly a walk in the park either. That's still a serious curriculum, not even remotely on the same level as law, but you can't just sleep your way through that. Everyone's surprised at Oscar's declaration, even Lee's still completely stunned in silence at the news, but no one's answering the most important question. Why did you pick accounting instead of something less demanding? I had to cut myself off from saying anything specific and potentially pissing someone off. No need to insult someone's possible major. Thought it'll be a good degree if I need to get a proper job. I don't really care about accounting, but man, as long as I can swim, I don't care what I'm doing, you get? There's something off about the way Oscar's talking about this. I'm not sure what it is exactly. I think he's telling the truth, but I also feel like I'm being lied to at the same time. This whole thing is so strange. I feel so stunned that I don't even notice the waitress has returned with our drinks until she asks for our orders. I hadn't even had the chance to look at the menu, but thankfully Oscar makes a recommendation, so we're able to get back onto this topic as quickly as possible. What about you, Lucas? I don't think you're a freshman. I haven't decided yet. The response is fast, unnaturally so, even from the usually high-strung Lucas, it feels rehearsed. That causes Lily to frown, and it doesn't fit on her face at all. It causes me to look away, unable to handle such an expression on her. Looking over towards Lee, I catch him staring down at the table, but he lifts his head up at the sound of Lucas's reply. Seems like I'm not the only one who caught how unnatural that sounded. What year are you? Junior. Something about what he said must have been important because both Oscar and Lily's expressions grow curious. The latter's more confused than the former's. I thought you had to decide your major at the end of your sophomore year. It's not a question but a fact from someone who's looked into this before. I thought it over, and they said I could wait till the end of the semester before choosing my major. And that's the end of that. Lucas leaves no way to continue that conversation. There's something about it that makes him uncomfortable, and no one wants to push. While he might still look fine to everyone else, Lucas's entire body is tense. Even if I couldn't feel the way his leg clenched up when Lily asked him the question, I think I could have figured it out just by how he looks. I got to step in and give him a hand. We don't need to push him on something this mundane. What about you, Lee? I know you're a freshman like us, but do you have any ideas about your major? Lee looks over towards me, and it's the first time he's looked towards me since this conversation started. There's something in his expression that doesn't sit right. He looks almost unsure, not because of the question, but like something's shaking him up. He's been looking like that since before Lucas answered. Whatever he's feeling disappears when he registers my question. That strength he always has returns to his eyes as if obliterating any doubt lingering on his face. Not yet. Need to find whatever gives me the best chance to support my sister myself. Accounting's good for that. Computer science too. There's something about their answers that causes Lee's feature to harden, his lips pressing hard together into a thin line. We all wait for him to reply to that, but he offers nothing. He seems to be aware that we're waiting for something because he looks away towards the door, acting as if people wandering by are the most interesting thing he ever seen. I want to ask him more about it, but there's a wall there now between him and all of us. He's never done anything like this before, but I have to respect his boundaries. I don't really know what I'm going to do either. It's a weak attempt to steer the conversation away from Lee, but I hope it's enough. Me neither. Just seeing where things go. Maybe I'll find my true passions hidden somewhere. Lily's voice breaks through the tension stronger than mine ever could. But I look towards her. Her eyes aren't focused on the group, but on mine exclusively. There's an understanding between us. She's trying to help me out. Thankfully, it works out, and the others bring their attention back towards her. My attention is still on Lee, though. He's looking back towards Lee, but there's a distance there now, like he's not focusing at all. It fades as the conversation goes on and things go back to normal. Oscar's constantly teasing Lucas on me, taking any opportunity to touch me. Somewhere, Lily only laughs and sometimes goads Oscar into some banter. Lee ends up telling Oscar off whenever he tries something, Lucas following him up with a deadpan insult that he always immediately regrets. It continues even after our meals arrive. It's nice and I feel happier than I've ever been in a long time, and there's guilt there because how can I be happy? How can I sit here and have friends? How can I laugh with them? How can I deserve the worst of excitement whenever Oscar does something, especially bold, something he only ever does for me? After everything I've done, after every mistake I've made, how can I sit here and be happy? Okay, we gotta stop here. So it seems that Wallace he seems to have a low opinion of himself because he keeps wondering why a guy like Oscar, this big, strong, hot guy, would want to be with somebody like him. Why would Oscar want to hang out with him? What's so special about him that Oscar would want to be friends with him? And a lot of times he thinks there may be some kind of ulterior motive from Oscar. And that's kind of what I think also. I mean, Oscar clearly wants to be friends. I mean, he wants to be friends with Wallace, and they basically are now. But earlier on, I kind of thought that might have been too good to be true, that Oscar might have had some kind of motive behind it. I don't know, something to make fun of him or just to a one night stand. He is a sexually active guy, so he probably might have just wanted to have sex with Wallace for one night and then move on to somebody else. That's what I probably might have thought, because it is in a way an unlikely relationship. An unlikely friendship. This big jock and this tiny guy here, Wallace. So anyway, Wallace does have a low opinion of himself, and he's wondering why all these people are friendly towards him. Why will he have all this? Because I think he associates all this as being somebody who has more success, somebody more extraordinary, somebody who's more special or more extraordinary will have all these friends. But he thinks of himself as practically a nobody. He wonders why nobody like him would have all these people caring for him and calling him and on his phone and wondering he's okay. All of them having, all of them being concerned for his safety and his mental state. Because he feels that it's too good to be true, and some part of me feels that way too. So early on, we heard from Oscar's coach about him saying that he didn't care if he didn't care that his grades were great, and that he would kick him off the swimming team regardless if he didn't stop with the excess of swimming. So that alone right there confirms that Oscar does make good grades. I don't know if the coach got to see those grades himself, or maybe Oscar lied to the coach. He's not making good grades, but I think the coach himself knows that. I think like if you want to be on these swimming teams or like football, basketball, any athletic sport, you gotta keep your grades up. If you don't keep your grades up, then you might get kicked off the team, I think. And I'm gonna assume that the coach knows about also have a good grade. So in the story so far, we've been told that he's a smart person. And when Oscar revealed that he was into accounting, everybody was shocked because they probably thought of him as this dumb jock, this dumb jock who just likes to swim and get in people's pants. But there's certainly a lot more to Oscar than just that. I guess that's a big part of Oscar, but that's not all of him. He's a smart guy also. But it seems like Wallace didn't quite believe him. And it seemed like Wallace didn't quite believe what Oscar was saying, and that he thought Oscar was lying. Again, maybe he is, but I don't know. But so he picked accounting because it is a less demanding degree, so it gives him more time to swim. And I thought the fox, what's his name? Lucas. I thought he would have been in some kind of major by now, but I was surprised to find out that he didn't have a major yet. Because he seemed like a smart person who's dedicated to his work. I thought he would have been like a business major, but he doesn't have a major right now. Lee doesn't have one either, and neither does Wallace. And Lily doesn't have one either, so pretty much everybody except Oscar doesn't have a major right now. They're still thinking about it. It's kind of weird that Lee keeps calling Wallace a kid, even though he's a freshman, just like Wallace is. Both of them are freshmen. But again, maybe he went to college late. Maybe he started college late, so maybe that's the case. I don't know. But Oscar's a senior and Lucas is a junior. And I guess Lily's a freshman also. She doesn't outright say what class he's in, like what year she's in, but I guess she's a freshman as well, since you got to decide by the end of your sophomore year what your major would be. So Austin will be gone. If he graduates, he'll be gone next year, and then by then, both he and Lily will have to find out another way to be together. And Lucas is in his junior year, so he doesn't have many years left. So Lee's a freshman, so he'll be so both he and Wallace will graduate at the same time. So they got many years ahead of them. So yeah, so anyway, I think I talked too long. So anyway, we'll continue with Violet Memoir next time. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.